Hello, my mother is a nurse, and many times she has to work with a doctor here in our town, and this doctor has been since forever here, and sometimes they fire him, then he come he comes back, he fights, he gets out of his place here at the hospital, and then he comes back again, and he's very toxic. A few years ago he plotted against my mom. He and his other friends tortured her psychologically. They tried to fraud a false story about my mother, that she was not a good worker. They tried to fabricate a document which proved that she didn't work well, but his plans fell, and my mother never got bothered, to the point that she was thrown out of her job because of this doctor. Well, this doctor is very fist, he's a very miserable man. His son and his daughter suffered with him, his and they have miserable lives. He's a very toxic man. To everyone. My mother says that very few people talk to him at the hospital because he's just cruel, mean. His relationship with his wife is very full of drama and conflict. He fights with her. They live separately in separate houses for a time. For some reason then they come together. She has been unfaithful to him many times, and he has also been unfaithful to his wife many times with other nurses. But for some reason they are still a couple. His wife likes to fight with every time she gets a chance. She fights because she wants to be in command of things, as he does. He wants the hospital all for himself, and she wants to rule another clinic here for baby all herself. But because they are both losers, in the sense that they don't know how to work, they are very bad and incompetent professionals, they get thrown out of their posts, of their jobs. Or they, especially this doctor, he tries to hide his shortcomings. I don't know what keeps this doctor here, working at the hospital still. He's not the only doctor, but his work is very not good, and every day, every night that my mom has to work with him, she suffers. She tells me, oh, I have to work with that doctor again. He's mean, he's toxic, he thinks he's better than everyone. This doctor has a son. This son started to date a poor girl, and this doctor was against the relationship because the girl was poor, and so he made his son break end the relationship with this poor girl. And then his son was very resentful of that and became bitter. He is now, I don't think he he thinks about his future. He doesn't do anything for his future. He covered himself in tattoos. He's now full of muscles. And I knew his, well, I'm not saying that that is a bad, that makes anybody bad. But I think that is a sign of rebellion, and that his son is not a happy person. I knew his son when he was a child. I was younger, and this boy was a very needy. You could see that he needed company and tenderness. He was a very sweet boy, but you can see that they broke him. You know, he's bitter now. This doctor has a daughter. She has become a medical doctor herself, but he said to her, you are going to have to buy your own car, and you have to pay for your, I'm paying for your course, but you're going to have to repay me. He never gave any help to this daughter so that she could become a doctor. She told me my father made me ride a car to the university with no air conditioning in this car. And in Brazil it's very hot here in the summer. And she says she used to get to the university all sweaty, and because the car gets hot. Imagine yourself going from one town to another in a car with no air conditioning in a country which is very hot. And she has no financial help from him. And his son has no financial help for him. He's very miserable. He never gives any money to anybody. He never gives anything to anybody. He's passive aggressive. He does his job in a very unwilling manner. Whatever, he makes patients wait until they get very tired so that he can deal with the patients. He doesn't even look at the patients. He eats everything that he can eat at the hospital because he doesn't want to spend money at his house with food. I went to his house when I was younger to teach his son sports. We used to do martial arts together. And this house was very, very, the rich people's house, and very clean. There is nothing in the kitchen and nothing in the rooms. It looks like nobody lives in the house. So I guess that's enough, so you get the picture of how this doctor is. And my mom told me yesterday an interesting move that this doctor makes. He resents having other doctors at the hospital here. He always wants to raises, and he always wants to be the only doctor around. And if he could do it, he would put his wife, his daughter, and he would be the only doctor working in the health field here in my town. But there are other doctors who work here. They come from other places. It's an arrangement that the mayor did, something like that. My mom told me it's an interesting move. He says, well, that a few days ago he tried to demand something of another doctor, and the other doctor had a very good argument with him, and this doctor told him to go to hell, or to, you know, it was a very bad words, you know. This narcissistic doctor got what he deserved in this fight. And then this doctor said, well, so if this is gonna be this way, I'm not gonna work here anymore. And then the good doctor said, well, that's your problem. And and then he went out of the hospital, you know, doing the drama the narcissists do, the drama. And then he came back and he said, well, I'm gonna work here only until Monday. And he thinks that we are going to cry. He thinks that the mayor or the people in power here are going to beg for his return to the hospital because he's so important and a very good professional. He thinks, but that's not gonna happen. The administration here is tired of his fights, and is tired of his wife's fights. His wife fights with other nurses all the time. He mistreats the nurses every chance he gets. So they are a very dramatic couple. You know, toxic relationship they have. Who knows if he's a narcissist, if she's a borderline, or if she's a narcissist. Who knows? I'm not a professional. Never read any diagnostic report on this on this doctor and on his wife. But my mom tells stories, and they are not psychologically healthy. She was very stressed out at one point, and he's cruel. If he could, he would destroy my mother's reputation and my mother's job. And she told me of an interesting move that he did when asking for a raise. He talked to the other doctors. Well, we need a raise. We need to ask a raise for the mayor. Okay, we will all agree that we are going to ask for a raise. He and the other doctors. Okay, we'll do it. We'll ask for a raise, every one of us, so that the mayor will not resent us asking for this raise. Because if only one doctor asks for it, he gets, the mayor gets resentful, and then he's going to be sabotaged. Small towns, I don't know if it's like this everywhere. And then the doctor end up being fired if you piss off the mayor and his subordinates. Okay, everyone agreed they would unite to ask the mayor for a raise. And then the doctor went, the good doctor, and the other doctors went and did what was agreed between them to do. But my mom tells me that this narcissistic doctor didn't play, he didn't keep his word. He didn't go to the mayor to ask for a raise, while the other ones did. And if the other ones have gotten that raise, he would benefit because his salary will go up too. But he didn't go to the mayor for a raise. And if the other doctors didn't get a raise, this mean narcissistic doctor would benefit too, because he would have an excuse and he would blame the other doctors. He would go to the mayor and he would say, I didn't ask for a raise, I have no part in it, I had nothing to do with this agreement between them. And he would benefit because he would save his ass and everything would be alright with him. So can you see that this narcissistic doctor would reap benefits from both sides with his move? He was a liar. He lied. Oh yes, I'm gonna ask for a raise. Oh yes. And then he didn't. So this is a move that made me laugh. It's a ridiculous move, isn't it? And this is what I've been talking about in 2 videos now, about the limbo. And I can call this a limbo tactic of the narcissist. Because you probably have realized now that this narcissistic doctor was in the middle of the fence. He sat in the middle of the fence and he crossed his arms, and he would reap the benefits from both sides eventually, without doing anything but sitting in the middle of the fence. So he stayed in limbo. That's the limbo tactic. You see how in my opinion, one of the main or first tactics of the narcissist is to remain not to make a decision, is to remain in a certain limbo with his arms crossed, playing the victim, and he reaps benefits from both sides, not from one if he makes a decision and not from another if he makes another decision. He reaps benefits from both sides. That's the limbo tactic, the manipulative tactic of a narcissist. If the doctors have gotten a raise, he would get this raise without doing anything. And if the doctors would have been resented by the mayor of the town, he would claim that he had nothing to do with it, and he would take sides with the mayor, kiss the mayor's ass, and say, I had nothing to do with this. These doctors are bad doctors, and I am loyal to you, mayor, and I can be the only doctor in this town. This goes for every place, every move that the narcissist makes. It happened to me twice. You get involved with a narc girl, in my case, and she's married, and she reaps benefits from the husband and from you, and from me, who was a lover. The husband provides money and housing, and the lover provides the other things that she doesn't have, which is excitement, the effects of addiction in her brain, the escape from reality that the husband cannot provide because, well, narcissists get bored very easily. So the girls sat in the middle of the fence and reaped benefits from both sides. they get a lot, don't they? They win a lot, don't they? By not making a decision. And with one hand they get one thing, with another hand they get another thing, and they have both hands full by not making a decision. That's the limbo tactic of the narcissist. Never let a married person have you as a lover, and if you find that somebody is not trustworthy, if you find that somebody never makes a decision, he's probably doing that on purpose. Oh, I can't make a decision now. I am not ready for revolution. I am not ready to take sides yet. I don't know what I want. This is what I heard many times. I don't know what I want. Of course the narcissist knows what he wants. He wants to sit in the middle of the fence using the limbo tactic so that he can get double, reap double benefits. He knows what he wants. He won't tell you. Thanks for your time.